The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, nestled in a cozy corner of a sun-dappled forest, lived a mother pig with her 3 little sons. As they grew older and the small cottage became a little too snug for the 4 of them, she knew the time had come for them to venture out into the world and build their own fortunes. With a heavy heart but a hopeful spirit, she gathered her sons around her. She advised them to always do their best to work hard and to be wary of the dangers that lurked beyond their peaceful home, especially the big bad wolf, whose reputation for mischief and a voracious appetite was known throughout the land. After packing each of them a small bundle with some food and a few cherished belongings, she kissed each of their snouts, wished them well, and watched as they trotted off down the winding path, each piglet dreaming of the wonderful house he would build. The first little pig, a cheerful and somewhat impatient fellow, was eager to finish his work and have more time for play. He hadn't traveled far when he met a man carrying a large bundle of straw. "Please, sir," the little pig politely asked, "could you spare some of that straw so I can build a house for myself?" The man, seeing the piglet's enthusiasm, kindly agreed and gave him a generous armful. The first little pig was delighted. He thought straw was a perfect building material. It was light, easy to work with, and he could construct his new home in a matter of hours. With great haste, he bundled and tied the straw together, creating a small, simple hut. It wasn't particularly sturdy, but it had 4 walls and a roof, and to the little pig it looked like a fine home. He finished just as the sun was beginning to set, and feeling very proud of his quick work, he settled inside to play his flute and sing merry tunes, completely untroubled by any thoughts of danger. The second little pig, who was a bit more thoughtful than his brother but still preferred leisure over labor, continued a little further down the road. Soon he came across a man with a cart full of freshly cut sticks. "Excuse me," said the second pig, "would you be so kind as to sell me some of those sticks? I wish to build a house." The man was happy to oblige, and for a few coins the pig purchased a large pile of sticks. He thought sticks were a definite improvement over straw. They were stronger and would surely make a more substantial house. He spent the better part of the afternoon lashing the sticks together with twine and weaving them into walls. His house took longer to build than his brother's, and it was certainly a bit more robust. When he was done, he stepped back to admire his handiwork. It was a handsome little house of wood, and he felt quite secure. With the rest of the day to himself, he went inside, put his feet up, and began to enjoy his new home, confident it would protect him from any harm. The third little pig, however, was the most diligent and wisest of the 3. He remembered his mother S warning about the big bad wolf, and knew that a house needed to be strong and safe above all else. He passed the man with the straw and the man with the sticks, continuing his journey until he found a man with a heavy wagon loaded with bricks. "Good day, sir," the third pig said with determination. "I would like to buy some of your bricks to build a strong house." The man, impressed by the piglet's serious demeanor, sold him a large quantity. Building with bricks was hard, back-breaking work. The third little pig had to mix mortar, lay each brick carefully, and ensure every wall was straight and solid. He worked tirelessly from sunrise to sunset for several days, while his brothers were playing and relaxing in their quickly built homes. He was sweating and toiling, but he never wavered. He built a sturdy chimney, a strong oak door with a heavy lock, and small, secure windows. When he finally finished, his house of brick stood proud and unyielding, a testament to his hard work and foresight. He was tired, but he felt a deep sense of security and accomplishment. It wasn't long before the big bad wolf, who had been watching the piglets from the shadows of the forest, decided it was time for a pork dinner. He trotted up to the house of straw, his mouth watering in anticipation. He knocked on the door and called out in a deceptively sweet voice, little pig, let me come in." The first little pig, who was just about to take a nap, peeked through a crack in the straw wall and saw the wolf's big, sharp teeth. Trembling with fear, he squealed, "Not by the hair on my chinny!" The wolf's friendly demeanor vanished instantly. He bared his fangs and growled, "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." He took a deep breath, puffed out his cheeks, and blew with all his might. The straw house, being so flimsy, flew apart in an instant, scattering across the meadow like dry leaves in an autumn wind. The terrified little pig squealed and ran as fast as his little legs could carry him to his brother-S house of sticks. The first little pig burst through the door of the stick house, shouting, "The wolf! The wolf is coming!" The second little pig quickly bolted the door just as the wolf arrived, looking even more determined. Little pigs, let me come in," the wolf snarled. Safe behind their wooden door, the two brothers huddled together and cried out, "Not by the hair on our chinny chin!" The wolf, now thoroughly annoyed, retorted, "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." He took an even deeper breath than before and let out a mighty gust of wind. The house of sticks shivered and shook. The twine snapped, and the sticks clattered to the ground, leaving the two little pigs exposed and helpless. With shrieks of terror, they scrambled out of the wreckage and raced toward the safety of their third brother, S. sturdy brick house. They tumbled inside, breathless and panicked. And the third little pig calmly but quickly secured the heavy lock on his strong oak door. Moments later, the big bad wolf, now furious and hungrier than ever, stood before the brick house. Little pigs, let me come in," he roared, his voice dripping with menace. From inside, three brave voices replied in unison, "Not by the hair on our The wolf, confident in his powerful lungs, bellowed, "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." He huffed. He puffed. He blew with every ounce of strength he possessed, his face turning red with effort. But the brick house did not move. Not a single brick trembled. Not a single shingle rattled. The house stood firm and defiant, exhausted and enraged. The wolf realized that his huffing and puffing were useless against the solid brick walls. He had to devise a new plan. Looking up, he spotted the chimney. A cunning smile spread across his face. "I'll be clever," he thought to himself. "I'll climb onto the roof and slide down the chimney. Then I'll have all three of them for my supper." He quietly crept around to the back of the house and began to climb onto the roof. But the third little pig was not only hard-working, he was also very clever. Hearing the scuttling of the wolf's paws on the roof tiles, he quickly understood the wolf's plan. He instructed his brothers to help him, and together they placed a large cauldron of water over the roaring fire in the hearth. The water began to bubble and boil just as the wolf positioned himself at the top of the chimney. With a triumphant yelp, the wolf slid down, expecting to land right in the middle of the room. Instead, he fell with a tremendous splash right into the cauldron of boiling water. He let out a piercing yowl of pain, shot back up the chimney like a rocket, and ran away into the forest, never to be seen again. The three little pigs were safe at last, all thanks to the hard work and foresight of the third little pig. From that day on, the first two pigs learned a valuable lesson, and they both built their own strong, safe houses of brick. And the three brothers lived happily ever after. The three little pigs.